A commenter has taken issue with the fact that slavery could not have been done by capitalism because Marx said that slavery was a pre-capitalist mode of production. Yes, that's true, but it doesn't mean he said they couldn't exist at the same time. It's just that capitalism is a newer, more advanced system than slavery. In fact, this is an issue over the negation of the negation, a part of dialectical materialism that Mao didn't even believe in. Engels talked about the three categories, but as for me, I don't believe in two of those categories. The unity of opposites is the most basic law. The transformation of quality and quantity into one another is the unity of the opposites, quality and quantity, and the negation of the negation does not exist at all. The juxtaposition on the same level of the transformation of quality and quantity into one another, the negation of the negation, and the law of the unity of opposites is triplism, not monism. The most basic thing is the unity of opposites. The transformation of quality and quantity into one another is the unity of the opposites of quality and quantity. There is no such thing as the negation of the negation. Affirmation, negation, affirmation, negation. In the development of things, every link in the chain of events is both affirmation and negation. Mao knew very well that slavery and capitalism stood side by side. Even libertarians can't deny this. It's often touted that real capitalism, as it was in 1776 when the Wealth of Nations was published, this is the same time as the American Revolution. Capitalism was supposed to negate slavery, but it didn't. They existed side by side. This is one reason why Mao doubted the existence of the negation of the negation. Slavery didn't end until the Emancipation Proclamation of January 1st, 1863, but then it really ended when the South lost in 1865. Now, Marx even wrote a letter to Lincoln praising him for ending slavery. Marx said that capitalism would eventually negate slavery. It's not an instant change. Slavery also existed alongside feudalism as well. Capitalism did not instantly negate slavery. Other examples of this can be found in China. For the most part, capitalism existed in the cities, while in the countryside it was in feudalism. Here we have two different economic systems side by side in the same country. There's also different levels of education and standard of living between the cities and the countryside, partly because of this reason. Partly. It's also why the countryside was more religious. Even if you deny capitalism existing alongside slavery, it doesn't change the fact that America was built by it. I do know Marx's theory. I have actually read it. The suggestion that you know more than me about it is simply ridiculous. And now he criticizes Mao by saying he tried to destroy history because of all the chaos that went on during the Cultural Revolution. Yes, this was a time of great turmoil where a lot of people took advantage to take revenge on the religious ways that had kept them enslaved. A lot of people went too far in getting rid of the old order. Mao actually ordered historical relics to be placed in the Forbidden City to be protected from the destruction of the Red Guards. That's not to say that there were relics put in there beforehand, but he ordered a lot of them to be put in there as well. Although I'm not saying all of them are there because of Mao, because somebody who is well versed in this would be able to try to make that lie about me. Even then, the number of museums in China increased dramatically during the revolution, the revolutionary period after the actual war. This is because history was protected and they undertook excavations to uncover more of China's past, which was of no concern to the capitalist/feudal order that existed under Chiang Kai-shek. During the Cultural Revolution, archaeological excavations produced new discoveries of the Lincion man and the Peking man, and bronzes, ceramics, and other artifacts from ancient dynasties. When foreign visitors saw such discoveries in the Ming tombs outside Beijing, they were told that these great artistic achievements were built with the sweat of the common people, and now the common people finally had the right to enjoy them. As a side note, there's been extensive efforts by Christians to completely eradicate all other cultures and religions. In fact, you'd be hard-pressed to find some religion or culture that was not repressed by Christianity, that they did not try to destroy. One such notable case was U.S. President Woodrow Wilson, who ordered the invasion of the Philippines in order to Christianize and civilize them, costing about an estimated 650,000 Filipino lives. In addition to this, the U.S. government also carried out massive campaigns to take the surviving Native Americans and destroy their culture, or as we Canadians historically say, beat the Indian out of the child. This was accomplished in both countries through the use of residential schools who physically abused children to try to make them more white Christian, even going so far as to try to make them hate their parents and their indigenous beliefs. Both of these examples were deliberate campaigns to wipe out cultures and religion, while China, it was not planned but did get out of control, and were protected by orders from Mao himself. On the other side, it was the orders of the US leader who carried out the physical and cultural destruction of the Filipino people. No, you need to learn some history. Oh, and one more thing. The fact that Canada also participated in the killing of Native Americans, or as we call them First Nations people, doesn't have anything to do with your killing them, which was astronomically greater than ours. Both countries are guilty. The fact that more than one country participated does not negate the fact that America participated. There is no, well, everyone else was doing it argument to be made here. I've often criticized the whitewashing of American history, particularly around the issue of native genocide. This is a good example of it, attempting to pass the buck off onto other countries in order to somehow negate their own participation. Now, this argument does come up several times when dealing with the history of slavery. Often, American scholars or just closet racists will say, well, other people engaged in slavery too, which has absolutely nothing to do with the history of American slavery. It doesn't negate it at all. It's not a counterpoint to anything. It's like looking at the mass suppression of black people of the population by the public, government, and police, placing them in a highly disadvantaged position, but then turning around and trying to negate it or justify it in a closeted racist manner by pointing out that there are racist black people too. This is how you pwn a hater.